Okay, we just have to keep an eye open if somebody shows up with the sushi. Okay, Perek Lamed Beis. Reb Shalom, you with me?
Yeah.
Okay, Vihine. So the Alter Rebbe in Perek Lamed Aleph, he spoke to us about this journey of putting down the body and lifting up the soul. That we have to give priority in our life to our soul, not our body. All matters of depression and sadness are driven by the body. All joy, true joy, inner joy, is driven by the soul. So the Alter Rebbe says, "V'hine ayidei kiyum advarim anal," by fulfilling these above mentioned things, by following this program, li'ez gufei nivze v'nivas beinov, that the body will be despicable to the person, that won't be where he puts his efforts. He's not investing in his body. His emotions, he's not getting emotional. Rak simchasei tiyeh, his joy will be driven by simchas hanefesh lavada, exclusively the simcha of the nefesh. And Alter Rebbe explained what's the nefesh. He's doing Yitzias Mitzrayim. He's actualizing his nefesh and serving Hashem and being close to Hashem. Hareizu derech yeshara v'kala. This is an easy way. The way is not easy, but once a person follows this, then it becomes easy. It's a straight path. Lavoi, to arrive at kiyum mitzvahs ve'afta l'reacha kamecha l'chol nefesh miYisrael l'migod l'vad katan, to be able to love every Jew like yourself, no matter who they are, a great person or an ordinary person. Now, just to say that in this idea, ve'afta l'reacha kamecha is a pasuk, right? So it's a pasuk. There are also teachings in Chazal. You know what happened? The famous story. The Alter Rebbe is going to come to the story soon about Hillel. That a guy came to Hillel. He said, "Teach me the whole Torah while I'm standing on one foot." So he said, "V'ahavta l'reacha kamecha." Yeah, v'iduch. That's iduch perushahu. Everything else in the Torah, there's one mitzvah. Everything else is commentary. So with regards to ve'ahavta l'reacha kamecha, to loving your neighbor as yourself, this itself is a problem. It's a problematic statement, because naturally a person loves themselves without any reason. I don't need a reason why I love myself. A person just loves themselves because they're themselves. When it comes to another person, I always have to have a reason. There's something about the other person. There's a quality. There's something about the other person. They have something that draws me. So how do you expect? How is it possible? No matter what happens, you can't ask of a person to, So, and that's why in the Rashi says that v'ahavta l'reacha means re'acha, your friend, means Hashem. So, in other words, he takes the pasuk away from the literal meaning, because otherwise it's a problem. Even in the Gemara with Hillel, which the Alter Rebbe is going to get to soon, some people learn. They say, when he told the convert that the whole Torah is ve'ahavta l'reacha kamecha, he didn't really mean the whole Torah. He meant the majority of the Torah. In other words, all the mitzvahs that are ben adam lachaveri, all the mitzvahs that are interpersonal. And since interpersonal includes not stealing, not killing, not being jealous, so you have all these things, not to cause people pain, not to cheat people with money. There's a lot of mitzvahs. So, majority of mitzvahs are ben adam lachaveri, and then the rest. So in halacha, you could say a majority, and it means everything. You could say kulai, but really it's majority. But that's also a stretch, because Hillel said to the person twice the word kol. He said kol ha-Torah kula. So kol ha-Torah, literally the entire Torah. Also, if you count the mitzvahs, actually, It's not a majority of mitzvahs that are interpersonal. The majority of mitzvahs are between us and Hashem. It's not, so you can't give it. So basically, without Tanya, it's really problematic. I don't know if this is, if one of you wants to write a book, but I had an idea that maybe someone should write a book. Take all the questions in Nigla, in Talmud, in Halacha, that the Alter Rebbe answers throughout Tanya, Lekutei Torah, because he has certain things that you could only answer really in Chassidus, according to Chassidus. He brings, every once in a while, he brings a certain question. He brings a phrase of the Talmud. And he says, now, according to Chassidus, we could understand what it means. Yeah. So what does it mean? How can you ask of someone to love a person in the same way? The Bigodol Vatkat means, what he's trying to say is that Godel means that there's a reason to love him. They have greatness. There's something about them that I like. Katan is someone who doesn't have anything to offer. How could you love everyone, even someone who doesn't seem to have anyone to offer? Another thing, obviously, Katan and Godel could be a righteous person and a wicked person. Yeah. Oh, here, Baruch son. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Ki me'achar. Okay, so how? Yeah. Okay. We have a request, Reb Shalom. So rein legen erst den Teller. Okay. Ki me'achar shegufay. Here's a fork if you need. Nimos umetuv etzle. Being that his body is despised. Oh. Reb Shmuel, you want to take over the shir? I feel like a butler. Come, I'm not saying it as a joke. We have another time here. Oh. V'anefesh v'aruach. Mi'edei agdolosun u'ma'alosun b'shoshin u'mekerim b'lekim chayim. Yeah. We're going to get into the zone soon. We're going to get into the zone. Mi idea gdulason u'ma'aloson b'shoshan u'mekerim b'lekim chayim. So, in Chassidus we learn that godliness manifests in two ways. We call Seviv Kol Almin and Mamalik Kol Almin. Just like in the life of the body, you have a chayas kloli, the fact that the whole person is alive. If a vulture is hovering over a person, I don't know if they eat living people, but my assumption is that they wait till the person passes away. So to be alive, the whole body is equally alive. But then there are vital organs and less vital organs. A person could lose an arm, but you can't lose a heart. Right? We have vital organs. So in the chayas from Hashem into the world, there's a general chayas that brings everything into existence. Everything exists equally. It doesn't matter if it's a person or a stone. We exist physically. We manifest. And then there's the spiritual awareness. So spiritual awareness, this is rooted in Mamalik Kol Almin. And physical existence, this is rooted in Seiviv. Now, just like when a child is born, so in the father, the child is just in the egg or in the semen. All the limbs and everything, they're indiscernible. You can't separate. It's indistinguishable. All the parts of the child are one. At a certain place, at a certain level, all of us are one. We don't have the distinctions that this person has this quality and that person has this quality and this character. That's only in Sfiras Habina. That's the beginning. In Bina of Atzilus, that's the beginning of distinction. So the Alter Rebbe says, let's say that every one of us has a distinct role, and every one of us is on a different level, and all of that. But do we know who's greater than who? Like, it's all a mystery. We don't know.
So we can just compare, just comparing the plans on some kind of criteria which are by themselves prove it, established.
Right. What we see is external. At the deepest essence of the person, even when they're already separate, it's like brothers. They come from one source, but they're separate. They're separate individuals, right? But we can't really say, "Oh, I know for certain that you're greater." Oh, that you're greater, not less great. How do you know? We don't know. So the Alter Rebbe is saying, if this is symbolically. Here, give him a plate. First Gashmias, then a little Ruchnias. Okay, first a little Gashmias. So, Hanefesh v'ruach, the soul and the spirit of a human being, who knows to distinguish their qualities in Elikim Chaim? Elikim Chaim is the Sfiras Habina. B'Shagam, the truth is, Shekulan Masimais, that we all, at the deeper level, at the level of essence, in our source, we're all equal. In other words, at the ultimate, I've said this before, not everyone was here, but
I have no nails.
I'm just saying, Reb Shmuel heard this from me. Why is it in a cemetery that they have different communities have different sections? Right? You have like a Chabad section, and this, why? Well, it's in every cemetery. You go to Har HaZeisim in Yerushalayim. This group of Hasidim, this community, that. And then you walk by, you see these arches, congregation this, congregation that. Why?
Divided in groups, no?
Right, why is that? Because you're not supposed to be buried next to someone that's not at the same spiritual level. Like a righteous person and a wicked person shouldn't be buried near each other. So there's an assumption that everyone that's from the same community is at the same level. So, in other words, right, we don't go measuring, but you have the same, we live the same life, we live in the same, right? So, at a certain point, it's like, imagine you have on the assembly line, right? So you have 100 people on the assembly line. At the end is a finished car. So now you're going to start arguing about which screw is more important.
Everything needs to be makes everything work.
That's right. They have a complete thing. You need everybody. So in the world, we're all here to fulfill the mission of Dira B'Tachtoinen. So now we're going to start arguing who has a fancier position. At the highest level, we're all completely equal. Everyone's a equal shutuf. And then deeper, Av Echad L'Kolana, we have one Father, so we're really all one. V'lachein nikru kol Yisrael achim mamish. That's why all Jews are called brothers, literally. It doesn't mean achim, like he said to the shepherds, like Yaakov said to the shepherds. It means really brothers, truly brothers. Mitzad sheresh nafsham v'Hashem echad. Rak she'agufim mechulakim. Are the distinction, the body brings separation, but really we're all one. V'lachein, therefore, ha'esim gufim mikav v'nafsham tefela, people who put priority to their bodies. Their life is about gashmias. V'nafsham tefela, and they don't care about the soul. They can't have lasting love because their love is only a utilitarian. What am I getting from you? You know, what phone numbers do I have in my phone? Only people they're going to give me something. They're going to help me. I have in my phone. If I need to rent a car, I call this guy. If I need to, right? That's all people that are helping me.
Contacts.
Yeah. So that's if they're gufa mikr. They can't have true love. What's true love? True love means that it's everlasting. Because when there are conditions, when I need you, I'm making a party, I need a party rental. Oh, I need a tent today. Tomorrow I don't need it. I don't need it. You know, go get lost. They to a person who the body is the main thing, their love is only dependent on certain interests. And this is what Hillel HaZokin said, Al-Kiyum mitzvah, that one who fulfills this mitzvah, he says, Zeu kol ha'teira kula v'idach perusha chulu. And sincerely, truly, that this is the entire Torah. Why is that? Because what is the Alter Rebbe is going to explain that mitzvahs are Hashem's will. Mitzvahs are, when the Alter Rebbe was saying earlier that your soul should be more important to you. What was he saying? Live a life of mitzvahs. Live a life of closeness to Hashem. How do you become close to Hashem? He asks you to do something and you'll fulfill His will. So that's how, right? So mitzvahs are the vessel that connects us to Hashem. It happens in two motions. One motion is that we are elevated, we're refined, we get purpose, we leave the gashmias of the world, and we become goal-oriented, focused, mission-oriented. We have a purpose in the life. Every day is about what we're going to accomplish. And then the other aspect is to draw godliness down into the world. That's the work of putting the nefesh to be priority over the guf. You know, I say that there are many different ways how to express this. I like to say that a person can be busy with his body a whole day. Some people, they wake up in the morning, they go to the gym, then they have to shower, then they need a muffin, then they work. You know what I mean? Then they have to go shopping, then they go shopping, then they need lunch. So they never stop. What's with my soul? They never stop. But like when something has to get disrupted, it's like, let's say you're in the shower and there's no more soap. So now you're stuck. You know, wait a second. Oh, what do I do? 1 second, what's with my neshama? In other words, as long as the Nefesh HaBahamis, he programs you in such a way that you never stop. So there's no need, like spirituality is never, you're always busy. But it's only, let's say, the internet goes out. Oh, I don't have, Netflix is closed.
Yeah,
what do I do now?
You separate it. So we try to connect everything.
Huh?
We try to connect everything.
Who tries to connect?
Either Gashwas goes together.
No. No.
So David Amel went to the bus and he was crying how connected they were naked. How
But he had soap. He didn't get stuck.
Yeah, but he found
No, David HaMelech is the opposite. Every minute of his life,
He was to be connected.
he was to be connected already. Right? He was already in that space. A person has to say, you know what? I have to change the whole program. Till now, before I go to sleep, I'm like, tomorrow morning I'm going to have a good coffee. I'm already thinking about, the shear is going to end. I'm going to have a good cigarette.
To elevate Brazilian coffee, all country have to elevate for.
Okay, you're a holy Jew. I'm not in such a level. I'm saying just begashmias, So once we put the nefesh as the ikr, that everything that a person does, all the exercise and all the eating and all the sleeping, is that we should be able to learn Torah, and we do it. So then when we view another person, we don't look at their guf. We look at their purpose. We look at their spirituality. So he says like this. Yesod v'sheidish kol ha'Torah hu, what's the foundation of the whole Torah? The Alter Rebbe he takes a jump here. He goes to a very high level. Lahagbiya or lahales hanefesh ala guf, maila ad ikara v'shorsha dekol almin. So here the Alter Rebbe goes beyond a greater level. He says at the root of the world, it's like At the root of the world, it's like you have the bringing back the neshama to its source, but the source of the neshama is already mamalik kol almin. He's saying, give yourself to live a life of mitzvahs is greater than your spiritual source. It's like I come down to this world. So I could think about, there's my neshama the way it was before it came into the world, and there's my neshama the way it is in the world. In the world, it likes chocolate cake. Before it came to the world, it loved Hashem. Let me bring it back to the way it was. It loved Hashem. But it's the same. Meaning, it's only the level of the neshama. So if a person serves Hashem in order to bring the neshama back to where it was, it's only back to where it was. It's not on a higher level than where it was. He's still thinking about himself as an existence. But if a person dedicates their life to doing mitzvahs, then they view the entire world only as fulfilling Hashem's purpose. It's not about their closeness to Hashem. It's about the ultimate goal. That's ikar. In other words, why was the world created? I was listening to a sikha this morning. Really fabulous, just such a special sikha. The Rebbe is speaking to the graduating students. So the Rebbe says that the Torah teaches us that every single thing in the world, its purpose is to reveal godliness. Why when we make a bracha, why do we make a bracha on water? Shahakol niya bidvari. On water, we should make a bracha al hamayim. Beiri pri ha'adoma, beiri pri ha'etz. Thank you Hashem for water. Right? Why do we say that everything was created with His speech? Why do we say everything? Right? So the Rebbe says because water has no uniqueness, quality, it's plain. So when we say thank you Hashem for making something plain, when we say thank you Hashem for a fruit, for a grain, so there's a quality. We're thanking Him for a certain, it sustains us. But when you look at grain, you took out the kernel and you threw away the junk. Right? In halachic terms, teven and kash are words used for junk. Straw. Right? How did you get chitim? You threw away the teven and the kash, and you took out the chitim. You took out what's precious.
Disposable.
What's water? Water has nothing. There's no flavor, it's just plain. You didn't throw away this is like, so what do you say? Thank you Hashem for making something that's not ordinary. So the Rebbe says, but the purpose of every single creation is to reveal godliness. So how's the water going to reveal godliness?
Because it gives the power for the others.
No, so we're going to say to the water that shehakoil niya bidvari. That here we're going to take the water. This reminds me that every single thing in the world, Hashem created with His speech. Everything in the world is for Hashem's glory. And the Rebbe says, a counselor in camp and a teacher in school, and this is the mission, that we have to teach kids every single thing that they see in the world. The purpose of it is to reveal God's glory. So when we say, Mekaira v'sharsha dekol almin, what is the purpose of the creation? To reveal godliness at the highest level. So the purpose of Torah is to reveal that Hashem created the entire world only for Dira B'Tachtonim. V'gam. That's one tnuah. That's one motion. V'gam. In other words, not to bring me closer to Hashem. To bring me to the place that's to the source of creation. Not to my source, to the source of creation. I once asked this question, yeah? You have Sfiras HaChesed. So Sfiras HaChesed, like let's say the sun. Where are the rays of the sun more intense? Closer to the sun or farther than the sun? I don't mean that near the earth is the hottest. That's not what I mean. What I mean is...
further away.
Yeah, the further away, the thinner it gets. Right? When you have Sfiras HaChesed, the near the source, it's powerful. As you move farther and farther away, it gets weaker. Dave Ber, I didn't prepare enough. I couldn't find the other chitas.
It's okay. I have my phone.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So we're in Lamed Beis. Yeah. Koyach Hagvura. Yeah, Rav Shmuel, you with me? Tzimtzum. So where's the tzimtzum greater? Closer to Atzilus or the farther you go away?
You told already.
Right? So
first symptom is much stronger.
right? So the Mekoyra v'shorsha in the source of the Gam. The second thing is lahamshich, to draw down. The second mission of a mitzvah is to reveal, to bring godliness into the world, to utilize everything in the world for Hashem, to bring Hashem into the world. Now the thing is like this. I mentioned before that in Hashem there are two powers. There's Seviv Kol Almin and Mamale Kol Almin. Mamale Kol Almin is splintered. Seviv Kol Almin is unity. Achdus Pshuta. Hashem can't come down into the world when we're split. Friday night in Kegavna, we say, Lemehve Echad Be'echad. Yeah, you remember? Lemehve Echad Be'echad. You have to see the words. It says, Kudsha Brichu Echad. Kudsha Brichu is Seviv. Kodesh is removed. God is one. He cannot go down and sit on his precious chair. Lo Yosiv al Kursaya Dikore. He can't sit on his precious chair until it becomes Echad. Because godliness because Seviv Kol Almin is one. So in order to come down to this world, we have to become one. When we're one, he could come down and join us. When we get along, when we have achdus among ourselves, then Hashem could come and rest and manifest among us. Not when there's separation. If we're in a conflict, if we're fighting, then the body has a blemish.
But on personal level also, so two lives should be connected.
What do you mean two lives should be connected? We reveal that we're truly one. In other words, v'ahavta l'reacha kamecha.
Our neshama is because of soul, in my mind, and because of God,
Because, no.
But we want to be connected, one.
Mitzad our nefesh, we're one. In other words, it's only the body that separates us. Yeah, that's what he said earlier. The bodies are separating us. Really, we're all one existence. Like we say, Barchenu Avinu Kolonu Ke'echad Be'erpanecha Mishkasu Makamacher Ba'arichas, we're all one. Okay, now comes the next section. Uma Shekosu B'Gemara Yeshekoyach Aaron. This which the Gemara says. Das Arke, was Ma Shekosu B'Gemara, the Gemara says, the Isa B'Gemara. Shemi Shereya B'Chavere Shechata. Someone who sees that his friend sinned, mitzvah l'snoisei. It's a mitzvah to hate him. V'gam aleimer l'Rabbi sheyisnoehu, to tell his Rebbe that he should hate him. So the Alter Rebbe, we could already see the answer over here in the beginning. First of all, when it says, Loimar lerabbai sheyisna'eu. You should tell his teacher that he should hate him. We're not in school now. Who has a Rav in their mature life? A Klei Kodesh. Someone who's a Torah scholar. We're talking about a Torah scholar who sinned. There's a Torah scholar who has a friend who sinned. It's a mitzvah to hate him. It's chaverei. The Talmud says someone who sees that his friend sinned should hate him. Who's the Talmud talking to? Somebody who studies Talmud. It's his occupation. That's what he does. It's a Talmud Chacham who has a friend who's religious. And then there's a certain area where he transgresses. It's like what we call deviant behavior. What does that mean, deviant behavior?
Devious.
He went out of the norm. He did a crazy thing. Not only that, they gave him musar, they warned him, so to speak. They're speaking to him about it, and he continues on purpose with this weakness. So it's chavere b'teiro mitzvahs. Ukvar kiyem bei mitzvahs echiach techiach es amisecha. Again, it's amitecha, it's your friend. Im she'itcha b'teiro mitzvahs. He's a religious person with you. V'afal pikein leishav mecheta. Nevertheless, he didn't do tshuva. There's a lot of talk over here about all these words, amitecha, and just to understand what's going on over here. Someone who's not your friend, meaning someone who's not religious at the same level. He doesn't have a closeness that he's going to listen to you. Someone who's not, you don't have a connection with, you have no business rebuking them. Because they're not going to listen to you. You're not set up right that they should listen to you. So in that case, in other words, if you see someone who does the wrong thing, how are you supposed to treat them? How are you supposed to approach them? It's exactly about this. When a person walks down the street and they see someone who they consider a wicked person, a bad person, someone who behaves badly. By the way, I didn't get into this whole discussion at the beginning of V'ahavta l'reacha kamecha doesn't mean just to behave that way or that you should feel it in your heart. I didn't go into that whole story. But there's a discussion about that too. Which, in other words, that the people who struggle with V'ahavta l'reacha kamecha, they say you're supposed to behave as if. The same way you treat your money, treat his money. But that's not V'ahavta
So
means
spend money like a sugar, I should spend his money.
No. The way you treat something that belongs to you, that's the way you treat something that belongs to someone else. Yeah. So this is exactly what Hillel said. Hevei mitalmidav shel Aaron. We should be like the students of Aaron. Oyev shalom. We should seek peace and pursue peace. We should love people. Who did Hillel say it to? When you see a Jew who's not in the right place, who does Averis, and they're far from Torah and mitzvahs, and they come to shul and they speak whatever it is, and they're doing other things, white collar crime, blue collar crime, they're serving drugs in the community. You have to love them. You can say, oh, but it's a risk. They're going to kill somebody. We're all going to kill somebody. Just from breathing, someone else is losing. You're putting out carbon. That's, shkeach. That's coming. That's coming soon. Very good. Doimar. Also those people who are far from Torah and mitzvahs. There's a what from the Torah Baal Shem Tov, from the Magid. You have to love a Rasha Gomor like a Tzaddik Gomor.
Wow.
Yeah. So
And the Rebbe, people ask the Rebbe, my knowledge, somebody's far away from Yiddishkeit.
yeah,
There says nobody's far from Yiddishkeit.
yeah, they have no shaykhs. Yeah, that was with George Rohr. Yeah. Lachein Nikroim, they're far away. V'lachein, that's why in the Mishnah, Nikroim b'shem Brias Ba'alma, they're called just creations. There's nothing else of value. There's no other quality other than that the Hashem created them. Even, how do you treat such a person? Tzarich l'moshchan. You have to draw them close. Bechevlei aveises ava, with cords, with ropes of love, that the person should feel such a connection to you. V'kula hai v'ula yucha l'karvan l'teira v'averes Hashem. Halavai, with your love, you'll be able to bring them close to Yiddishkeit. V'hein loy, and if you don't succeed in bringing them close, loy hifsid, at least you didn't lose schar mitzvahs avas rein. So when I was in yeshiva, they would say that, it's like, let's say you have different techniques about how to deal with people. Let's say you're a boss and your workers are slacking off. So you have two ways how to deal with them. One of them is to roast them, to scream at them, whatever it is. And the other is to be nice to them and extra nice. And is there something wrong? Shefel, bubula, what's going on? Could I help you out, right? So the Alter Rebbe is saying, look, if you use the severe way and it's ineffective, what did you do? If you use the kind way and it's ineffective, you were Mekayim Avos Yisrael. But the Rebbe learns it much more deeply. In other words, this is what I heard as a kid from, like what they brought from Lubavitch, what they carried over from Achrei Zvu. But the Rebbe learned, that's not that Pashut, what the Alter Rebbe is saying is that to hate someone is in such a limited instance. That's not only a person that's mamish your friend in the base medrash, and he's doing an aveira, and he continues. Oh, so then you tell, but everybody else you have to just love completely. The other thing is what the Reb Shmuel was saying, that some people argue that what they say, v'hafta l're'acha kamecha, re'acha means a frum Jew. If he's not a frum Jew, he's not re'acha. He said, what do you mean? The Gemara says, v'hafta l're'acha kamecha, b'roir loy misa yofa. That if a person is chayiv misa and bezdin, you have to give him one of the Dalet Misas Bezdin, right? So he's a Rasha, he's going to be killed. They have to stone him or choke him or burn him, whatever it is. You have to do it in the best way possible. The Gemara says when you choke someone, the Mishnah. So how do they do it? Two people, they wrap a rope around your neck, and two people pull on the sides, and then they pour in the burning lead inside. I'm mixing up two. Yeah. Anyway, right. So I'm mixing up. That's chenek, choking without the lead. That's reifas with the lead. Anyway, so Rabbi Yehuda says that you have to wrap the ropes with like a soft cloth,
shouldn't scratch the skin,
that it shouldn't hurt him in the skin.
I believe about skills that they praise the person. If he will be dressed, it takes longer time. He will be
Right.
they don't have bullets back then. Think they would use it? No.
bullets.
Right? So it has to be, so we see Avos Yisrael applies even to someone that's Mechuyev Misa. The Hein Loi, now V'gam, now the Alter Rebbe pushes even further. V'gam am kuravim elov, even those people that are religious, and they're close to him. V'hoichicham, and he rebuked them, he said, my dear friend, this behavior that you're doing is forbidden. V'loi shovu, they didn't do tshuva. V'loi shovu me'avinisim. Shemitzvah l'sneisam, it's a mitzvah to hate such people. Says the Alter Rebbe, mitzvah la'avim gamkin. It's a mitzvah to love them too. And you're going to say, oh, I know how this works. There's going to be your heart and your... says, no, shtei enem emes. You could actually have two emotions. True emotions. It's the true love and true hate. Sina mitzad rasha bahem. You should hate the evil that's in them. The ava mitzad bechinas hatoy vagonus shubahem, and love because of the hidden good. The love is hidden. The good is hidden in them. because they're in a bad place. So their toiv is hidden. So you have to love them. They have a spark of good inside. And you have to love that spark. Then the Alter Rebbe says, V'gam. I'm going to mention, today they don't talk about this. When I was a kid, I remember when they would teach this Perek Tanya, they would talk about like why do you have to hate someone? Because otherwise you're going to learn from them. So learning from them, that's only by your friend. It's not like somebody passing by in the street is going to be a bad influence on you, but somebody that's close to you. So that's why. Anyway, V'gam, says the Alter Rebbe, La'oirer rachmin b'libay aleho. Really, you have to have rachmanis, that there's a spark of godliness and goodness inside this person. That's in Golus. And you should have compassion. Right? That's Kihi, B'bchinas Golus. Today, this is a very popular approach in a lot of the self-help books, also a lot in education. This idea of Rahmanas for the person who's struggling to
It's not their fault.
in other words, that when you see them, you're angry. They make you angry. Right? Everyone's learning. The whole class is learning. And this kid, he doesn't even open his book. It infuriates. So we're taught to bring a tnuah of Rahmanas. Because the goodness in them is v'chinas golos, b'tei chara misit rachra. Ha'gever aleha barashoyim. Right? The evil in them covers up on the good, but there's good inside. V'harachmanus, when you have compassion, mevatelas asina, it breaks the hate. U'meireres ha'ava. This is so basic. This is like lahavdil. There's the story that's in one of these books that people always talk about. Which book is it in? The 7 Habits, about the guy that was on the train and he saw kids running around 1 o'clock in the morning. And he tells 1 o'clock in the morning, little kids are running around on the train, making a churban. So a guy turns to the father and he says, well, could you keep them, you ask them to sit down? So he says, oh, you're right. I don't know what to do. Their mother just passed away and I don't know what to tell them. And the guy who heard this, he just had complete, right? Yeah. So now all the hate and all the anger just turned to, so Rachmanas is mevatelas asina right away. Like we know, so here also there's a whole story. Anyway, there's a Gemara. The Gemara says, the Yaakov v'shapadas Avram. Where was that? Where did Yaakov redeem Avram? So the Gemara answers that Yaakov was busy raising 12 children. Really, Avram was supposed to have 12 shvatim. But Yaakov said, I'll help you out. Take a break, you'll have 2 kids, I'll take the 12. So Yaakov was Padas Avram. But the idea is that Avram is chesed, is love. Yitzchak is gevura. That's the root of Sina. And Sina pushes away love. And the Rachmanas redeems the love, brings the love back.
You think that's why he was Misakin Marv?
Yeah, so it's a basic idea. Today it's simple. We all understand this idea. Rebbe concludes. But still we find that David HaMelech, all of Hashalom, David HaMelech said, Tachlis Sina Sneisim. I hate my enemies with ultimate hate. Ultimate means complete. Why? The Alter Rebbe just said that you have to love all the different levels, that really you have to love everybody. Why did David HaMelech say that you have to hate completely? David HaMelech did not say this. Elo alaminim v'apikursim, on the heretics. She'en lehem chelik belekei Yisrael. Kedisa v'gemara reish perek tezayin the Shabbos. The Gemara says that if you see a heretic drowning, you shouldn't save them, etc., so on and so forth. I just want to mention about this a few things. First of all, the Rebbe always pointed out that nowadays, first of all, minim and apikursim means someone who grew up religious, they learned in yeshiva, they learned, they thought, etc., and then they strayed. They strayed based on deis, based on philosophy. Not they strayed because they want an easier life. They want pleasure, whatever, right? So, and the Rebbe says that nowadays, even the people, the pseudo-philosophers, really that's not considered true, that is not considered true. And then, so, that cancels it out. Also, I remember there's also a vort. He says, David HaMelech said, why David HaMelech? Because David HaMelech was on the Sanhedrin. He had the right to judge who somebody is. But an ordinary person, you don't have a right to make a determination. Oh, this person is apikoides, whatever it is. And I just want to conclude that a lot of the language here, words could mean anything. Like when you say love and hate and all these things, they have a very broad meaning. So people could, it's very easy to misuse, to misunderstand, right? It's like someone's going to say, oh, there's a bacher in yeshiva, he's doing something wrong. I told him to stop, he didn't. I have to hate him. I have to go to my Rebbe. What do you mean? The Alter Rebbe said in Tanya, I have to go to Mashgiach in the yeshiva, I have to get him kicked out. You know what I mean? Like they draw conclusions based on what they learned without having a true understanding. It's delicate, it's very delicate, and it's neshamas. So sometimes, really, before a person acts, it's very, very important to discuss it with someone. We don't train like that. Everyone's their own rabbi, but really, it's because there's an emotion mixed in. That's why you have to be, and that's another thing. I don't remember who says it. I don't think it's from the Rabbeim, but from one of the Bali Musar or whatever. He says about David HaMelech that only David HaMelech could say, I hate them completely, because he knew that his motive was only God. A person who may express hate because that's his nature. He's a little bit of a sadist. He likes to, so that's not 100% pure. So then you're not allowed to. You have to step back. So these are very delicate things.